But I do know that between the coastal lawsuits, the legacy lawsuits, and the highest severance tax in the nation, we basically destroyed the oil business in this state. So it's encouraging to see y'all address that. I do have a question. This weekend, and to see if this advance notification helps us cure this problem. This weekend, I was informed of a large landowner that was bundling his mineral rights to sell in the parishes where carbon sequestration was going to be taking place. And my concern is for any buyers of that, I mean, with this and that, on your website, or do y'all have the ability for people to go look where these plumes are going to be in case they're, or will y'all have that, how's that coming?
And Representative McCormick, I'm going to make a note to answer that question because I definitely can, but I do want to defer to my boss, Governor Landry, to make some comments.
Governor Landry,
Surprise.
welcome to the committee.
Can I use the chairman's notes, Chairman? Look, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I do appreciate you giving me some time. I had not intended to come and to speak to you all this morning on this issue. However, as we worked through some amendments late last night, I felt that it was important for me to come down here as well. I've been on the phone with members of the legislature since early this morning, trying to reach some common ground. And while it's nice to be able to pit the lawyers against the oil and gas companies, that is not what this is about. This has become an issue of property rights and landowners versus those that want to extract the minerals. Now, it is undoubted that I don't think anyone believes that I want to do anything to harm the oil and gas industry. I have fought for my entire political career for that industry and in support of that industry. This is an issue that has plagued this state. And the longer we don't address it, the more it plagues the state and the more uncertainty we create for both property owners and for oil and gas companies. I believe that the set of amendments that are in front of you are good amendments. The reason is no one really likes them. That is normally a good sign that we have reached equilibrium in this body. I've consistently said this session, the theme should be a balanced approach. And I believe that the set of amendments before us brings us to a balanced approach. It creates a date certain time. It creates some certainty after that particular date. It also gives us an opportunity to go back and look over the next 24 months if we believe that we have incorrectly made some adjustments to the law. The failure to do anything only pushes or kicks this can further down the road. And so again, I get that not everyone here is happy, including me, because I should be at a press conference talking about the effects of the Super Bowl. But I came down here because it is that important. And I do believe that if we just go ahead and tackle this and put ourselves into a position under which we can create some certainty for the industry and set the ground rules for property owners once and for all, then what will happen is the contractual obligations between the landowners and the oil and gas companies will be modified based upon what we do today. And so with that, I would just urge you to pass these amendments and let us continue this work and get something done this session. Thank you.
Governor, will you take a question?
I wasn't prepared, but I'll try.
Okay, well, okay. Vice Chair Orgeron, if you still, hang on, Vice Chair Orgeron, you have a question for the governor or for the governor? Representative McCormick, do you have a question for the governor or?
I have a comment.
Okay, Vice Chair Orgeron, hold on 1 second. He was still live. Representative McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Governor, I want to tell you thank you. I actually want to tell Speaker DeVilliers thank you. Chairman Guyman, we've had a very lively debate about carbon sequestration. We were fairly much muzzled on the debate in the last 4 years, and we have spent 5 hours debating bills. We have lots more work to do, but I would just like to say how much I appreciate you allowing and the other leaderships allowing this debate to happen. That's part of the process, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Representative McCormick. Question, Vice Chair Orgeron.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Governor, I appreciate your comments. I know you do well for Louisiana as a whole. Last year, I could tell you I was a little upset whenever you vetoed. The insurance issue has been a problem since for a long time, and I was upset whenever you vetoed that one of those bills last year. But I could tell you that it set the stage, the delay, the kick the can down the road, put us in a better position that we did a much better change this year. And from the little bit that I said before you walked in, the text that I got pretty much confirmed that the industry, those people that are driving our industry, are just not happy with the current set of amendments, explicitly from number 39 on, all on the litigation resolution stuff. So, you know, I just wanted to know if you were aware of that's really what's coming in right now. My phone's blowing up, that they feel it's a little bit too quick, and I hope you could understand that if I put forth a substitute amendment, letting everything but that go through, that you understand.
Yes, I do. I'm looking for some notes that I have. I'll try to do it.
They're pointing out how this bill, the core of this bill, died in Senate committee last week.
I know, but these amendments resurrect a large portion of that bill. And I'll just go off the top of my head some of the things that we worked through. I mean, number one, we're finally setting venue, I know that, in one appellate court, which gives us some particular certainty. We are changing the burden of proof on the front end. I think that the industry wanted a change of the burden of proof when it came to the value or and I believe that the problem with that became that it started to call into question whether or not other portions of the the Code of Civil Procedure had to be changed, which then could cause the bill to be locked up in additional litigation. So in order to not have that be an area under which the plaintiff's bar could use as a technicality, we changed that back. Let me see.
That's some anti-indemnity language that.
Oh, I'm
they don't
sure
like.
nobody likes it. I'm glad you brought that up, Joe.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about that.
Wind them up.
Let's talk about that. That is what has plagued this state. And quite frankly, I believe it's an ultra vires act. Because what it does is it makes someone promise to indemnify them for acts that someone else may or may not have, or in this case may have, or have been proven to have caused. Now let's just think about that for a second. I have to buy something from you, and then I have to promise that if you did something to that property that I didn't know about, that I find out later that you caused, I then have to indemnify you for that. Let that sink in. That has been the crux of the problem of this entire litigation that has haunted this state, is those indemnity agreements. And so if there is one piece that I will stake myself on, it is those indemnity agreements. And if the industry wants to come and talk to me about why, because when I wrote that indemnity provision, I wrote it to be both retrospective and prospective, so that we set the table once and for all on exactly what these companies, as the chain of title moves from one company to another, where the responsibility lies, Joe. And you're right, I'm sure the industry doesn't like it. The curious thing is, what part of the industry doesn't like it? Is it the majors? Is it just the majors, or is it a combination of both the majors and the independents? Do they not like it retrospectively, or do they just like it prospectively? That's what I would like to see. No one has texted me, but I certainly would love the industry to text me. Where y'all at? Let's talk about
I'm sure it's coming.
the indemnity agreements.
Look, I just represent Bayou Lafourche, District 54. I vote my district. We haven't been involved in any legacy lawsuits. You know, we had resolutions and votes on that in the council. Matter of fact, I think tonight they're going to try to take another vote to see whether or not we've changed our mind on it. Pretty confident that we have not. We don't bite the hand that feeds us in the oil and gas industry. But just know my concerns with this goes back to 3 meetings ago with last-minute substitute amendments coming in and making change. I just wish we would just engage stakeholders a lot earlier and not try to make last-minute decisions in the legislature. I thank you for coming. I know you're passionate about Louisiana.
I appreciate those comments more than you know, and I've been working on this since the deal fell apart last year. And one of the things that I've tried to do this session is try to get us out from underneath the dark clouds that have continuously fallen upon this Capitol when we address these issues. We did an unbelievable job on insurance and legal reform this year. This is, in my opinion, a piece of that particular legal reform as well. No one wants to see certainty in the oil and gas industry more than me. What is interesting to me, though, since you already, I'm going to really get myself in trouble, okay, is how on one side of the equation, the industry tells us that our litigation environment is so bad that they will not do business in this state. Yet in the same breath, they will sit and apply one application after another for carbon sequestration. They will come and do business on the carbon sequestration side in the same state that they claim the litigation environment is so terrible that they won't do business.
The reason is crystal clear to me.
Why is that?
Because we have the primacy application, and we're the energy capital of
But I agree with you, Joe. I appreciate that, but you can't say that litigation is so bad in this state that you will not conduct activity on one side of the equation, and yet at the very next moment you say, but guess what? I need some help from you all to do the same types of activities on this side in the same litigation environment.
Predatory litigation.
That is the definition of hypocrisy.
No, that's the definition of being forced to work in a
No,
go and play in the playground where there's bullies at.
No, listen. What I'm trying to tell you, and guess what? These set of amendments, while not perfect,
I thank you for your passion and response, and I yield. Thank you.
But this is, I would just implore you all that if we don't pass something, we will continue to be embroiled in this. And it's not, and the problem is, I didn't hear from one, I want you to know something. This morning, I did not hear from one plaintiff's attorney. Not one. But I did hear from a lot of landowners. Not attorneys, but landowners. And that's why I'm here today, is to try to bridge the gap between the property owners and the oil and gas companies so that we can finally create some certainty in the statutes.
Governor, we thank you very much for your time and your passion and your testimony.
And I thank Representative Ogeron as well for the questions.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
If you'd give Chairman Hinch